If you've ever wondered what happens when someone refuses to back down in a live political debate, you're going to want to watch this all the way through. I've seen countless TV interviews, but this exchange actually made me stop everything and pay attention. Within the first few seconds, you can already tell this isn't going to be another polite, predictable discussion. Julia Hartley-Brewer comes out with a direct and controversial claim, immediately putting Dr. Helen Weberly on the spot. But instead of answering the question head-on, the conversation shifts toward the Equality Act. That moment completely changes the tone of the debate. From there, it becomes a battle between straightforward questions and carefully framed responses. As the discussion unfolds, the tension keeps building, and the exchanges become harder and harder to ignore. If you enjoy breaking down moments like this, make sure to subscribe because this debate is only getting started.
I don't think we should reduce...
I am female because
yes.
I am female.
Yes, and that's
because I actually am.
Exactly.
And I can think.
Exactly.
I can think that I'm
You've got it. You've got it.
I can think that I'm a German Shepherd dog if I want, but it doesn't mean that I. Do you believe that there are? Because I don't believe there's any such thing as a trans kid, right? So, do you believe that there are children?
So you don't think that the Equality Act...
let me ask a question.
No, because I can't just let you say I don't believe that.
I can say yes.
Yeah, but I can interrupt.
Okay, yes.
So you don't believe there's anything such thing as a trans child. So the
no,
Equality...
I know there isn't.
Okay, you know there isn't.
Yeah.
But the Equality Act actually has a protected characteristic, which is somebody who undergoes gender reassignment.
That doesn't mean they are trans. No,
it doesn't mean. So you're basically saying...
No, there is a protected characteristic. It doesn't mean that they actually are trans. That's what I want to ask you specifically. Do you believe that there are children who are born in the wrong body?
Born in the wrong body. Again, it's just... Julie, you need to really watch your language. This is
don't tell me what language to use. That's not going to go down well for you, Helen.
I just did. I just did. Transgender children exist. There are
children who believe that they're born in the wrong body exist.
I didn't say they're born in the wrong body because it's such an offensive thing to say.
What's the motive?
We were talking about the Equality Act.
That's what a lot of children say. That they're born in the wrong body.
No, they don't. People like you label us.
No, that's what trans activists constantly say. People feel they're born in the wrong body.
Well, then you need to watch me a little bit more on social media.
I'm good. I won't need to do that.
Okay.
Okay. So you don't think that phrase is? You don't think that is meaningful?
Nobody's born in the wrong body. What an offensive thing to say.
You accept that? Okay. So no, I was going to say you're a doctor by training. So that's basic biology. So what is it that a trans child believes or is, in your view, that is different from any other child? If you've got a little boy or a little girl who says, I believe I'm trans, I believe that I am a girl or a boy, the opposite from what they have been, I don't believe in assigned at birth, for what they are, what is it that's different about them?
Well, the belief is not their belief. Their understanding is of who they are. It's your belief. You believe by looking down there that is a little boy, and what you're doing... I believe
that someone with a penis is a boy.
Yeah.
And I'm mistaken in that.
Would you like me to finish or not?
Just clarify.
OK. So you believe by looking at a penis that child is a boy.
Yes, I do.
But that child may well be saying to you, you've got it wrong, your belief is wrong. Actually, inside my soul, inside my heart, inside my brain, I'm a girl. And people like you who deny that do an awful lot of harm. And people like you who put that out there on big social media channels do ever such a lot of harm to those people who are transgender. And that's difficult.
Right. If my child said to me, I'm Spider-Man, should I affirm that as well?
Do you not think I've not been asked that before?
Well, exactly.
Spider-Man is not an identity.
Spider-Man's not a thing.
Spider-Man is a fictional character from the television of a bloke who climbs up walls.
But the child could honestly believe that they are Spider-Man.
It's not a belief.
It's not a belief.
Remember we explained that a minute ago. It's your belief that
they are talking factually, and the rest of the world and the whole of history. We've all been wrong about biological sex, and it's not really a thing. It's entirely something that you know in your own heart. Is that what you're saying?
Well, how do you know what you are? Do you look in the mirror, or is it that you just know?
I've known all my life. I was given female on my birth certificate because I haven't got a penis, I've got a vagina. I've got pregnant and given birth to a baby. I think the evidence is very, very, very clear that I'm a woman. I've never questioned that. The vast majority of people don't question it. And until very recently, before this started being pushed as a political agenda, very few children question it. Now, here's the thing.
Yes, they did, if I may. And actually, we understand it so well that it isn't in our UK law. And do you think that your womanhood is dictated because somebody else put female on and because somebody else made you pregnant, got you pregnant, and then that makes you a woman? I mean, I don't think we should reduce
I am female because I am female.
Yes, and that's
because I actually am.
Exactly.
And I can think. I can think that I'm
You've got it. You've got it.
I can think that I'm a German Shepherd dog if I want, but it doesn't mean that I am.
German Shepherd is a dog. We're talking about human identities here. Spider-Man climbs up buildings. Dogs are a different species.
You believe that it's wrong. So if a child says, whether it's a patient, whether it's a child to their parents, says, you know, I know I've not got a penis, but I believe I am a boy, that should be affirmed. That is clear to me. It's gender dysphoria. It's a mental health issue. We know from the Cash Review.
Are you a mental health specialist? Is that excuse me, it's classified. No, I'm not letting you get away with that because
you can at the end. Let me quote.
There will be transgender people listening to this,
and they can listen to it.
And listen to you saying that they have a mental illness.
Cash Review was carried out by one of the leading paediatricians in the country. It's been widely accepted
and widely discredited.
It has not been remotely discredited. That is simply untrue. The Cash Review made it very clear, and this was something that was widely available as evidenced already, that the vast majority of young people who not just attended the Tavistock Clinic in London but also other transgender treatments, that they are children who have they're either autistic, they're gay children, they have other issues, lots of other mental health issues, depression, anxiety, some have been abused, lots of other issues. Is it appropriate to affirm, in your word, their mistaken view, in my view, that they are, whether we use the phrase born in the wrong body, or that they are the different gender from what has been assigned at birth, and to give them a treatment, not just say, yes, you can change your name to Jane or John or the other way around, but to give them a treatment which prevents the normal, natural, timely development of their bodies?
This is the moment where the entire interview takes a different turn. Julia asks what sounds like a simple, direct question. What is the youngest age that Gender GP has prescribed puberty blockers to a child? She waits for a clear answer, but instead the conversation moves toward discussions about precocious puberty, medical guidelines, and when puberty can naturally begin. Julia doesn't let the original question disappear. She calmly brings it back, asking the same thing again and again. With each response, the gap between the question and the answer becomes more noticeable, and that's what keeps the tension rising. At this point, the focus isn't just the policy debate anymore, it's whether a straightforward answer is ever going to come. Julia doesn't need to interrupt or argue. She simply repeats the question, letting viewers decide for themselves whether it has been answered. It's one of those moments where the exchange itself becomes more memorable than the topic being discussed.
Well, I just want to say to all the transgender people who are watching this show that you don't have a mental illness. And what I would like to say...
Mental health problem.
OK. I'd like to say to all of the people who listen to this, are listening to this show, all transgender people, that just because you are transgender does not mean that you have a mental health problem. But I would also like to say that attitudes such as yours cause mental health problems in people who are simply trying to live their life.
And you're stopping people living their lives.
And you said I was going to have a go? And your description there, listing off all of those attributes of a transgender person, denies them their identity and denies them their right to live peacefully.
How does it deny them their identity?
Country. By listing, it must be sexual abuse, it must be autism.
No, I didn't say it must be. The biggest review carried out by a leading paediatrician in this country looked into this and repeated evidence that is very, very clear, again and again, that actually the vast majority of children who appear at clinics, who claim to believe that they were born in the wrong body, or whatever phrase we want to use, have actually got other issues, which perhaps more of a bigger explanation.
Okay,
and
so
the vast majority of the children who, if they're left to their own devices, either, quote, grow out of this, go and live a perfectly happy, healthy life as gay men or lesbian women. And I'm going to say, How can you justify giving drugs to change children's bodies, and they are children under 18, especially when we know that puberty blockers have not been used by the Tavistock and elsewhere as a way of a pause. We're talking a pause to have a think. Whereas, in fact, more than 90% of the children who are given these drugs, or the young people given these drugs, go on to take hormones to actually, try and sex change hormones, and leaving them often infertile.
You're very medically aware here. And you're talking
sexual
absolute
function.
rubbish.
I'm talking rubbish. Oh, really? Correct me.
And I'd like to say to all the parents of transgender children who listen to your show and hopefully don't watch your stuff on social media, that their children are not a problem. Their children are absolutely right to live happily and
I'm not asking. I don't want anyone not to live happily.
And
can you address my point?
And actually, no, they are not gay. If your child is trans, your child is trans. Nothing to do with their sexuality. And no, they are not
Cass
all.
report was wrong.
And no, they are not all victims of sexual abuse.
I didn't say that. I never said that. I didn't say that.
Well,
I didn't. I mean, I literally didn't. You're just making it up. No, I didn't.
You haven't mentioned those words today.
No, I didn't say they're not all. I didn't say they were all victims of sexual abuse. One of the things that Cass reviews. I said that the majority are blah, and one of the things that was listed was victims of sexual abuse.
And the only one you don't list is true transgender children.
What does true transgender children mean?
It means that somebody else put female on their birth certificate.
And they're not.
And they're not. Exactly.
What's the youngest age that your business that you founded, along with your husband, who I believe has been struck off as a GP, you're no longer registered, but you're a doctor. You no longer have a license to practice. That was your choice in this country. What's the youngest age at which puberty blockers have been given to an under 18 child, as I'm going to use that word, by your company, Gender GP?
The appropriate time to give puberty blockers is when puberty starts.
So what's the youngest age?
The youngest age for puberty blockers, I mean, some children at the age of 3 or 4 can start puberty, and we give them puberty blockers.
That's different. That's a medical treatment.
Oh, that's a medical treatment.
That's a medical treatment for precocious
Hartley-Brewer
puberty.
comes back in again with now
medical treatment.
That is
literally what that is for.
You need to be really careful of your advice.
That's not for a trans child.
Oh, I see. That's for proper
Are you under the illusion that people who don't have a medical degree are incapable of reading what medical experts say?
Well, interpreted.
You think I've wrongly interpreted? So when children are given puberty blockers for precocious puberty at an inappropriate time to slow their body down, to enable them to develop naturally, that is a medical treatment as opposed to a preferential treatment from a child who believes that they are trans. You understand the difference?
You're so cruel.
I'm cruel now. Helen, I just asked you, before we went to break, I want to ask you, what is the youngest age that you have given, your company, Gender GP, has given, sold, I mean, I don't think you give them away for free, puberty blockers. You said youngest could be age 3. What is the youngest age, as far as you're aware, from the company you founded?
Well, we've been struggling with the terminology. The terminology is that doctors prescribe puberty blockers for young people who need them. So
I'm asking your company.
Yes, and the doctors will prescribe puberty blockers for children who've gone into puberty, whether that's precocious puberty or whether that's for transgender.
What's the youngest
children,
age a child that hasn't gone into precocious puberty?
When puberty starts, so puberty starts in people for trans reasons. Oof.
No, I'm just saying. The reason they want them.
Transgender young people entering puberty.
What age?
So people with ovaries can enter puberty as early as 7.
Why can't you just answer the question? What age?
We didn't even say 7 then?
No, but you're talking about precocious puberty.
No, I'm not.
Then. So you're saying
puberty can start as young as 7, 8, 9.
Yes.
Okay?
So you're saying that your company has given puberty blockers to children as young as...
prescribe.
I didn't ask about doctors. I asked you about your company.
But a company can't sell or give.
The people working for the company that you're the founder of.
The doctors.
The doctors, yeah.
Working
What's
with
the youngest
Gender
age?
GP.
They've given
I just told you.
7 years
8,
old.
9, 10, whenever puberty starts.
And is that for trans, because the children...
transgender people?
That's for 7 years old. And your company has been criticised by a senior judge, who wasn't a party to this particular court case, for not informing young patients about the risks of things like the train they're getting onto the train tracks. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm going to be, quoting some of the risks there are: infertility, sexual dysfunction, bone density damage, brain developmental risk. Now, a lot of that comes from further down the line, but we know the evidence is clear. don't have a medical degree, but the evidence is clear. Read the reports, see what the medical experts who do know say, that actually the vast majority of youngsters who start on these puberty blockers move on to cross-sex hormones, and that's what the reaction is. How can a young child, how can anyone under the age of 18, how can they make a decision about their future like that?
I think we have to give young people credit for understanding a lot of things in healthcare. So whether it's going in for a broken arm, whether it's going in for your adenoids, whether it's going in for grommets, whether it's going for puberty blockers, whether it's going for open heart surgery, you have to understand that parents and children make decisions
But a
for
lot
medical
of that
care.
is medical
And
treatment for a problem.
And the problem is gender incongruence, gender dysphoria, the pubertal development.
Okay.
And the reason that we got into this discussion here today was because of this campaign.
You're wearing a T-shirt. Oh gosh, yes, proud of my stripes.
Yeah.
This is a
actually,
lush campaign, and it's got a tiger apparently celebrating having mastectomy scars, cutting off perfectly healthy breasts.
Proud of my scars, yeah. And actually, do
it's
you know
repulsive.
what? Yeah, but puberty
I hadn't
blockers,
registered that was what you were wearing. It literally makes me want to vomit.
Oh, would you like to? Can we have a bucket in here, please? But puberty blockers prevent this. So on the one hand, you're saying puberty blockers, you could give them to anybody else, but not for trans things, as you say.
Well, for non-medical reasons.
And yet, actually, that puberty blockers prevent breast development in.
This is the moment where the conversation reaches its peak. Julia asks what appears to be a straightforward question. What is the youngest age that Gender GP has prescribed puberty blockers to a child? Instead of receiving a direct number, the discussion shifts toward precocious puberty, medical practice, and the age at which puberty can naturally begin. Julia listens, then calmly returns to the exact same question. Once again, the answer moves in a different direction. She asks again and again. As the exchange continues, the focus starts to shift, away from the broader policy debate and onto whether the original question will ever receive a clear response. Julia doesn't need to raise her voice or turn it into a shouting match. She simply repeats the question, giving the audience the opportunity to judge the exchange for themselves. That's what makes this moment so memorable. Whether you agree with Julia, Helen, or neither of them, this back and forth becomes the defining scene of the interview, not because of who spoke the loudest, but because one unanswered question ended up dominating the entire conversation. Long after the debate moved on,